in Texas, it is illegal to own more than 6 dildos at any one time. So,
There you go.
Well, I mean, how many do you need?
well, exactly. If you 5, that's fine. There's a practical kind of element to that. But 6, what are you doing? This is weird.
It's just a bit excessive, isn't it? It's just it's greedy. It could be that. It could be just a greed factor. There's not enough to go around.
Yeah, I don't think so. This is Texas we're talking about here.
True.
Can't really imagine there being, we don't want no greedy people around here. You can't have more than... So you can have as many guns as you want, eat as much fried chicken as you want, but you can only have 5 dillies.
That's the thing. You're allowed to have more guns than dillies in Texas. Is really the thrust of, if you'll excuse that word, of what I'm getting at with this law.
More guns than dillies is a pretty good episode title. I'll put it out there.
The weird law for the episode: you can't pee in the ocean in Portugal. So, originally brought in because it was believed that the excess amount of urine in the water from a large bunch of tourists pissing away in the water would harm the local marine wildlife and coral. The law is considered a bit of a joke by locals.
Guaranteed. How many people were peeing in it? And it surely be a small space.
Yeah, I think.
What an
Yeah,
odd
I think.
law.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people packed into maybe a small beach. If they're all in there peeing, the water temperature would get up over, 35 degrees easy, I reckon.
Yeah, it'd be bath. Everyone's having a bath in there. Yeah, ooh.
Pretty much. The obvious question, though, is how would that ever be policed?
Yes.
Did they form a crack squad of officers called the Slash Squad?
Flushes.
Or the Portugal Piss Police?
Portugal snorkel squad is hard to say.
Yeah.
Like I even tried it then and it didn't work.
The PSS. Yeah.
The PSS. Just swimming around, just looking around.
That's
A
perfect.
rough bunch of fascists, the PSS.
There you go.
The PSS is
The
great.
PSS, yeah.
Well, hang on. We need something. We need a word that starts with I after the P, just so we can get the acronym right.
Well, I just thought we'd do PSS and people can add their own I however they want.
Onomatopoeic.
Have their own eye. Yeah, okay.
Onomatopoeic?
Yeah.
Onomatopoeic?
Yeah, how would you police it? And like, growing up, I was always told by people in spas, if you pee in the spa, like there's special chemicals that'll make it, I don't know, purple or whatever the color was going to be.
You were not well advised.
Which was clearly just to stop kids pissing in your spa.
Oh, I see.
Just tell them
find
that.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Piss around and find out.
Yeah.
Well, I think if the lawmakers in Portugal here are to be believed, you'd find out by a bunch of fish floating to the surface and turning upside down.
White coral. Now, I think there'd be a real issue with policing it at the end of the day. Like early in the morning, you'd think the water would be clear, but then with all the piss going into the water would become really murky.
Yeah. So the more people pissing, the less chance there is of identifying people doing it because
Exactly. Strength in numbers.
It's all pee together.
The vision quality would be lower.
That's right. So they'd have to have special piss-resistant goggles.
Yeah, but the problem
Piss-resistant goggles.
The problem
well,
will
there's
be,
a product that we could probably patent.
we could get sponsorship. The problem will be, all right, is the current of the water. So that's not my
thought of
piss.
that.
That's someone else's.
That's his piss.
There's a rip. There's a piss rip. And I'm going with it.
What's next to Portugal?
Well, Spain, isn't it?
Spain, yeah.
Well, there you go. It's all that Spanish piss coming down the coastline.
Sure is.
That's why they're happy to let the British keep Gibraltar, because it's just completely surrounded in piss.
The Piss Islands, yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I like is that, sometimes when I'm looking up these weird laws, there'll be something in there that just isn't that weird.
Yeah.
And so underneath this story about, you can't piss in the ocean, it says, it is also illegal to defecate on a beach in Portugal. I mean, of course it is. Probably anywhere. illegal to defecate on the beach.
That's a bit easier to
Maybe
police. Too. You don't need goggles for that.
Hang on, that looks like someone shitting. I'm going to take off my piss goggles, put on my turd goggles. The world's first speeding ticket was given to Walter Arnold in Kent. He was going 8 miles an hour on a road with a 2 mile an hour speed limit. What a crazy
me
fucker.
dead. Right,
All
blimey.
around speed limit. Bastard.
Jesus.
Scared the horses.
Back then, along with staying below the speed limits, you had to have a person walking and waving a red flag in front of your vehicle to alert pedestrians.
No, really?
Yeah.
You do realise they couldn't go uphill because they're so slow, right?
Well, no, that's me. What, the cars?
If it was too steep, the cars would just roll down the hill.
Oh, blimey. Oh, that's not good.
Well, and the driver of the car was nabbed after being spotted by a police constable who chased him for 5 miles on a bicycle. So there you go.
A police? Did you say bloody police?
Yeah, on a bicycle and all. Yeah, right. That was
only
probably
doing-
what.
He's doing 8 miles an hour, and it took him 5 miles to catch him up on a bike.
Yeah. I don't know that, like, how fit police were back in the...
Well, they're fairly attractive. Oh.
I don't know if they had Lycra either. Let me just ask you a question.
Yeah?
Is there anyone at school you like?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. If there was,
Yes.
this is hypothetical, so
Yes.
so don't get defensive.
Good.
Don't get defensive.
Okay.
What would you do to try and kind of attract their attention?
I don't know.
Would
Do
you?
a backflip.
Oh, yeah.
Parkour.
You have to learn how to do that first, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I need my trampoline back.
Right. Would you consider throwing an apple at them?
I don't think that's a very good way to, like...
Well, people in ancient Greece thought it was a good way. So throwing an apple at somebody was considered flirting in ancient Greece.
Well, I mean, you give them a nice sweet snack.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless it's like a rotten apple, like they do with bad comedians or something. Oh, no, that's tomatoes. So.
Tomatoes, yeah. So the apple was considered sacred to Aphrodite, who's the Greek goddess of love.
Yep.
So to throw an apple at somebody was symbolically declaring that you love them.
Wait, so what did you say? What, like the Greek goddess of love, like liked apples or something?
Yeah, it was like the sacred fruit of that god.
Nice. I mean, I like apples, so...
And so, similarly, to catch it was symbolically showing that you accept that love.
Oh, well, what if they have really bad aim and they throw it to, like,
Yeah,
just go, hey,
that's right.
here.
If or you've got butterfingers and you really want to catch it, but you just make a meal of it.
And you're just like, oh,
That joke wasn't intended, by the way. Make a meal of it.
make a meal, or just catch it in your mouth. Tasty.
Like a peg. So there you go. Yeah. Do you think... What would you do, if someone just piffed an apple at you across the playground?
Well, if I didn't know, I'd probably just go, ow, what was that for?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you hear an apple sailing through the air towards you and you turn around
Well,
and you don't know who threw it, what do you do?
Oh, yeah, right.
What do you do? Do you deliberately...
Just look around. Maybe someone will be, like, looking at you and, like... They're just like, yeah, I was the one who did it because I'm looking at you, I'm paying attention to you, I lobbed an apple to you.
That's a long sentence for someone to say while an apple's sailing through the air towards your face.
I think that's more after.
Oh,
they
okay.
get the apple.
Yeah, but it's too
But
late
what if
after. You've got to decide whether to catch it or deliberately drop it.
But, like, what if you don't know it's coming and it just hits you in the back of the head?
Well,
I mean, that's the only... You can't really think that, like, oh, they don't love me because they didn't really know. Just go like, apple, hey, catch this because I want to be loved.
yeah, I think thwacking someone in the back of the head with an apple is
Yeah, that won't
defeating the
really-
purpose. I think
yeah.
you need to get their attention first.
Yeah, maybe just like, hey,
Yeah,
wait, why are you throwing that?
yeah, that's right.
Well, what if someone's throwing an apple at you, but they don't know about that, and they like don't like you, and they're just trying to hit you?
That's right. You catch it and you go,
And then you catch it and
well,
go,
hey there. Hey.
Just like, all right then. And they're like, what?
It's against the law to have a sleeping donkey in your bathtub after 7 p.m. in Arizona, USA. So this is one of those ones where you wonder whether it's been worded that way very deliberately or just carelessly, because, one may wonder, what if a donkey's just drowsy but only half asleep?
Yeah.
Well, what time do you have to set the alarm if they can't be in there after 7 p.m.? Like, how long does it take for a donkey to wake up and get on its way?
How's
Well, no, it can be awake. It can be awake in the bathtub, as I understand the law.
That's the wording, yeah. Sleeping donkey in your bathtub. So all you need to do is at 6:59, just give it a slap on the chops.
Yeah.
Turn the water on, maybe.
Cold water, yeah.
Cold water. Yeah. My question
on the hindquarters.
My question is the first thing I thought of, and then maybe the question should be, why did I think this? Was, what if the donkey is a heroin addict and has OD'd, is still alive, but not actually asleep? Like, are there bylaws for that? It's not actually asleep, nodded off.
Well, again, it's wording is everything.
Yeah.
If it said it's against the law to have a sleeping or smacked up donkey in your bathtub after 7,
yeah,
then, but it's if you're going to be specific, then you're going to have people challenging and seeing what loopholes, or not even loopholes, just seeing what they can get away with.
Or was an extremely specific market? The syringe designed for hoof use.
Oh, hoof syringes.
Yeah, hoof use. Yeah.
Well, we could get into the whole how a donkey would get a lighter and a spoon, etc., etc. We don't need to do that, I guess.
What about,
maybe a different podcast?
I suppose that
there's your unique selling point. This podcast talks about how a donkey would OD on heroin logistically.
There's the phrase between the toes, no one knows.
Yeah.
In the hoof, no visual proof. So I think you're right. It's probably being euphemistic with the term sleeping. It is junkie donkeys.
The sickly junkie donkey, the great kids book.
But where else would a fucking junkie donkey sleep? Not when it gets the nods.
Yeah, exactly. The cool of the bathtub.
If you do have a using donkey in your area, remind it to get going in the morning so it's had time. So the law was brought into effect after a public menace case in 1924, where a merchant used to allow his donkey to sleep in a bathtub, but then the town flooded and the donkey was washed a mile down the valley. So the donkey survived, but locals spent a lot of time and manpower to save the animal. So the law was passed shortly after to make sure that, public funds weren't used in such a wasteful way again.
Has there been a more specific law brought into place?
This is why I picked him. I love it.
Not for the donkey, but in case a donkey is asleep in a bathtub in a flood, and then it'll survive and float down in the bathtub, and then we have to rescue it.
But also, let's go back to the wording. Sleeping donkey. Okay, fine. Is a llama okay in there? What else can we put in a bathtub after 7 that's going to keep everyone happy?
But what about all the other donkeys?
Wouldn't it just be better if the law was, next time there's a donkey floating down the river in a bathtub,
just leave it.
We just let the river decide. Like, there you go.
Or instead of, a negative law, let's have a positive law. Every bathtub in Arizona has to be fitted with a mast and sails that can be lifted in times of flood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's something else I found astounding.
Yes.
And it really kind of requires you to sit and do the maths a little bit.
What? We need a pen and paper.
You don't literally have to do the maths. You can take my word for it. I've crunched the numbers. So, US Civil War, it ended in 1865. But, strangely enough, a very interesting fact about it, was ongoing until 2020. Now, Civil War veterans received, for a very long time, a pension from the government, pretty much in perpetuity, and their widows received them as well.
Whoa.
So, weirdly enough, one of those pensions was paid until 2020. Now,
That's crazy.
So how's that possible? A lady by the name of Helen Viola Jackson.
Good name.
It's a cracking name. I'd be happy with it. Would you feel obliged to play the viola? I suppose you would. When she was a teenager, it was the 1930s, and she provided care, health care mostly, to a nonagerian by the name of James Boland. So in the 1930s, a nonagerian was well and truly alive in Civil War era. He was a Missouri-born Civil War vet who had fought for the Union. And so she looked after him, obviously in his declining years. And he was so grateful that he married her.
Wow. Okay, it wasn't where I thought it was going.
Completely platonically, like he wasn't trying to get his creepy 90-year-old freak on. But as she later said, he said that he would leave me his union pension, which was a pension that he received. It was during the Great Depression and times were hard, and he said it might be my only way of leaving the farm. So as in the only kind of money she would earn that would allow her to leave the family farm and go off and have her own life if she wanted to. So that's how 17-year-old Jackson married 93-year-old Brolin in 1936. And, she was 17 in 1936 and only died in 2020. So the US government has been paying her an American Civil War pension until the year 2020.
Did you see how much it is even? Does it increase in value according to
living costs?
Yeah.
No.
Because it would be I don't know, shillings or cents or whatever. Did it increase?
It's in, unfortunately, it's in Confederate dollars. So an entry in the 13th century English Liber Feodorum, or Book of Fees, which was essentially a book that listed feudal landholdings, lists one Roland the Farter, who held Hemmingstone Manor in the county of Suffolk. And he was granted this land by the Crown on the proviso that he would come to court to perform his act for King Edward II at Christmas time.
Amazing.
So,
Well,
so Ronnie, nice digs, mate. Where did you get this one? Basically, I farted in front of the kids.
Yeah, I'm an entertainer.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So, recorded in Latin here, the act was titled Unum Soltum et Siffletum et Unum Bombolum, which is one jump and whistle and one fart. So it's a short act.
Sounds like a George Thorogood song. One jump, one whistle, and one fart.
But imagine getting
He did a really good fart, and that was it.
It just blew everyone's socks off, if you'll allow that.
Amazing.
But can you imagine being gifted feudal land for about 10 seconds work each year?
That'd be amazing. Seriously.
It would be.
You reckon he ever asked for Christmas off? So I'm going away.
It's like that. It's like the classic time traveler's dilemma. Like if you were to go back in time, what's one modern thing you'd take back in order to survive?
You'd bring Roland
Here we
the
go.
farter.
You just fart. Just as long as you can get the backdoor bugle going, you take on that role. You usurp Roland the farter.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, sorry. I had you the wrong way around. You're going back to fart and
I'm going
become
back in
famous
time
and rich.
and become famous. That's right.
Well, whereas
So-
I had you bring in Roland back here, so you
Oh,
could
back here.
have some get
right.
a lot of TikTok followers.
Well,
I don't know.
you'd have Jean-Claude Van Damme in Time Cop coming back after you if you did that, because they'd be, oh, we've got a time nexus, and they'd be going back. Yep.
Well, I was thinking more Looper. Maybe Roland just appears next to you and farts and then disappears again.
That would be the most amazing thing if throughout your life you just had these random moments where this medieval dude just popped out of nowhere, farted, and then just left. It would be the greatest continuous joke if you ever got a long-running TV series or something.
Oh
ever.
my god. Hi everyone, yes, Stu here. Hope everyone's doing well. Just a little reminder, if you like this show, check out some of the other Angry Chimp shows. What's the Go, Dad Pants, and What's Fuck Today. And make sure you follow the Bit Weird socials. You know, there's good fun stuff on there. And if you listen on Apple, why not give us a review? There's all the annoying pod things. This is an Angry Chimp podcast.